Hello everyone, and welcome back to some Elden Ring invasions. Today I'm going to be focusing on Saint Trina's Torch, which is a very interesting weapon. But first, I'm going to dispatch this phantom quite ruthlessly because Trina's Torch shines best in 1v1s. So sleep, if you've been familiar with Elden Ring PvP, you know it is an incredibly dangerous status ailment. Most notably with like Power Stance St. Trina's sword or the arcane Sleep Slicer build. However, I feel like part of that is because there's a pretty good melee moveset on halberds and Power Stance straight swords, and they do a lot of damage. Now, torches kind of have a pretty mediocre attack set, and Fires of Slumber is really more of just an okay Ash of Ward that looks really cool. It's not necessarily one that is nearly as dangerous as some of the spells that I'm throwing at or the status ailment itself. So, in this case, this host has actually a lot of opportunity to fight back, but I'm just able to keep up the momentum with just the attacks and the sleep status ailment. So Trina's torch is in one of those positions where, like, I think part of why it's so strong is just a surprise factor, and that sleep happens, not necessarily because it's as powerful as Saint Trina's sword or like Thyler's needle, or even like, let's say, on the madness side of things like Vike's war spear, where their great spear itself is where the great spear itself is just incredibly dangerous. And here I've got a much more powerful phantom than me in Liurnia, and they're wielding Rolana's twin swords, and I have to be very careful because I know that they can completely obliterate my health bar, but here I'm stalling just a little bit. Their host retreated, but I'm stalling to try and conserve flasks because I know if I'm in it, I need to heal as quickly as possible. So I'm playing a little bit risky, but I've got my trusty hand axe, this time with Thunderbolt, to go after them. And hand axes are great. They do a lot of poise damage. Um, I know this guy has a lot of health, so I've got to be on top of it in terms of spacing and aggression in order to win this one. Um, yeah, I I I know that axes are meta because of the true combo with halberds, but I feel like I make the hand axe by itself feel like it is in a much higher tier than it should be, and this was just a very fun fight. Because also Trina's torch doing fire damage in the water, and like against this, no, no, I'm not gonna use it to try and power down a phantom that is much higher level, because I'm pretty sure like 2,000 runes is close to like meta level of like 125, and I'm invading at level 13. So yeah, I do not feel bad that I got some help from the skeleton horse riders. And yeah, so now back to Trina's torch. So because the combination of the sleep status ailment on something with a, like, let's just say compared to the claymore, a pretty, it's like not so great move set, it turns something that sounds like it should be a joke weapon of the sleep torch, and especially when they're not your opponent isn't wearing clothes, into something that is, again, relatively dangerous. It's not like, I don't think it's like oppressive, and I think a lot of it is the surprise factor, because the torch, without having as much reach, it is a lot easier to try and dodge in space if you're expecting it. But I think part of it is just like the shock factor of being put to sleep by a torch randomly in the middle of an invasion, and it's just fun and silly to smack people with purple fire. And here in this next invasion, I'm going to be going up against another, not as hard hitting phantom, but absolutely another phantom that is, has a much higher level than me. Um, However, this time I have the aid of the spell slinging host. Now, you might be asking yourself, why does someone slinging spells at you help you? Well, carrying retaliation is still really, really good, and I really appreciate having, I'm starting to appreciate shields more in Elden Ring, and I've been trying them out at a variety of different levels here. I get roll and backstab, the prayerful strikes, and the combination with the frost trigger burst through the crimson tear bubble. Um, so yay me, and then now you get to see for all of like 5 seconds the legendary torch and board, the new meta that sword and board wishes it could be. Not really, sword and board is absolutely better than torch and board, but I thought torch and board was a very silly idea because carrying retaliation is a better ash of war than fires of slumber. And now here is kind of going to be a showcase of what happens when I'm trying to use this when there's like more than one guy. Now, just to explain here, the Phantom Virgil, I like him. He's chill, he knows what's up. He knows that the first thing that they did was shoot a sleep arrow at me. And that his other Phantom is basically just shooting a great bow, and like they're a 3-man squad, so he's just like annoyed. I think he's annoyed with his compatriots that they decided to be afraid of a giant. However, there's good reason much towards the end of this invasion, so I end up using the bone bow to try and push them off. And if you're like, Mithril, you're level 13, why do you have the bone bow? You should go check out my Rune level 13 bosses playlist. And yeah, so here I'm using deadly poison, and this guy with the turtle shell and all poised up in a clean rot rapier is using rot arrows. Like, someone's having more fun than the other person, and I think it's the person with the torch. But as you can see, like in terms of sleep buildup, it's not a ton, and it doesn't do like that much to like force a clean rot rapier off me. I'm not sure why that guy like backed off. I could theoretically have gone for the host, but I didn't know how much health there was, and I just saw I saw a low health bar, and I knew that this guy had his Y-hander, so it would be very tough. And the giant steps on the host. And then we shake weapons at each other after we know what happened. And I think Virgil is happy that the host got crushed based off of him not participating in the PvP fight at all. But yeah, like that shows, like, without Mists of Slumber or something else, that there are much better options for fighting multiple people, as you'll see in this one with the Great EP, as well as Garank's Beast Claw. This does significantly more damage, has a more robust moveset. With Flame Strike on it, it absolutely covers a lot more area, and then like the running heavy attacks are absolutely very good. Yeah, Great EP is very, very fun, and I'm trying to use it a little bit more as well with all of the shenanigans. But yeah, so I hope you enjoyed some of the torch invasions. I'm probably going to keep running around with the torch for a little bit because St. Trina's torch is fun. Now, the Madness Torch, that thing would go pretty hard at low level, I would theorize, but it does require a more different stat distribution than I currently have. So I'm just going to see, play around for a little bit, and also show off that shields are very good. Like I have underestimated carry and retaliation. But thank you all so much for watching. I hope you have an amazing day, and I'll catch you in the next video. See ya!